It was at about this moment that the knife man had sort of a realization dawn on him. What he was doing was really, truly, painfully dumb. However, he had done what they call in the showbiz industry committed to the bit. He was now a prisoner of his viewers. His arm burned as his strokes became stupider, less precise. But he would persist. All the forearm pain in the world would never equal being called a pussy who can't cut through a 2x4 and is also an inadequate lover. Victory finally rears its head. The knife man is redeemed. He finally looks cool again. No, wait, no, he doesn't. You've already got a knife in that sheath. What a dickhead.
Hey there, my friends. On my hip today, I have a LionSteel M7 large sporting knife. Now, I don't know if the term sporting knife is ever really going to catch on. No. Can someone please pass me a sporting knife? But I guess I'm just going to refer to it as a large fixed blade. The big outdoorsy knife. Wow, rolls off the tongue. That abbreviation sounds like it needs its own pride flag. There it is. So I came across this guy because I was looking to rebuy my LionSteel T5. T5 is one of my all-time favorite fixed blades in the mid-sized category. Still a bit larger than your average Mora, for example, but a great knife, which I sold in one of those points of madness where you want a new knife, all you've got is old knives, so what do? You sell one of your old knives and you regret it ever since. They hit my preferred retailer from time to time, but every time there's always something else I'm buying. So anyway, I was looking for my T5 and of course, there ended up being something else I wanted to buy. So what we've got here is kind of the large version, very similar to the T5 really, in that it's got the same handle and it's kind of just got an extended blade shape. The product literature kind of describes LionSteel having this problem about, that needed solving, about needing a knife that cuts branches, which I can only imagine was solved in some kind of exchange like, Moleta. Sì? I nostri coltelli non sono abbastanza grandi per tagliare I rami degli alberi. Per favore, risolvi questo difficile problema. Ingrandisci il coltello. Grazie. So Moleta has done it again. He has struck genius and he has made a larger version of the T5, which is pretty much what this is. If I'm remembering the T5 as intimately as I think I know that knife. The coolest thing about this blade, in my opinion, is the one-piece 3D machined linen micarta handle, which is particularly comfortable in your standard hammer grip. In the course of this review, I'm going to be comparing this to my other ridiculously expensive 6 to 7 inch fixed blade knife, the TRC Apocalypse. The TRC, if you're in Australia, is going to cost you probably about $100 more than the M7, which is a $420 knife as it stands.
Please don't tell anyone how I live.
This guy is probably going to cost about 500 and something bucks, getting it from Lithuania, I think they're made in, and these are generally made of slightly better materials than the M7 even still. So talking about that, let's get a little bit closer and I'll just run over with you what this guy's made of. So this is a Sleipnir steel blade. So Sleipnir steel, it's a modified D2. It's going to have, well, arguably a higher level of toughness, possibly a lower level of edge retention than D2. Just looking at the recipe, some assumptions you could make. I've tested this pretty extensively before. LionSteel started using it on their larger folding knives as well. And it's a fine non-powdered steel. It's certainly going to last longer than 420 HC or 1095 in terms of edge retention. And I think they're going to try and they're trying to approach that 1095 level of toughness in a semi-stainless, well-lasting steel. So for $420 though, I don't know. We'll discuss it. The design and handle is of course lovely. You've got about a 5.5 inch handle, and you've got a 7 inch blade with a 6 inch cutting length. Their blade is just under 1/4 of an inch thick, and it's got a nice crown spine, so it does feel very much like a premium product, as does the TRC Apocalypse. So let's do some comparison tasks. I'm gonna check the steel on this guy. Now, I haven't been able to put the exact same edge on this as I did with the TRC, so it's gonna be a bit of a foggy comparison. TRC, such a thick blade. I was only happy to go down to 23 degrees per side, mirror polished. This one I have gone down to 20. It's a little bit less thick, so the 20 degrees still looks nice rather than looking huge or looking like you're trying to force a Scandi onto your saber and just have a Franken edge. So we're doing some edge testing, we're doing some heavy use, we're doing some sporting use, whatever that is, and it should be a fun review all up. So let's get to it.
You never see it coming. You see that my mind is prepared for life. You're done it. But damn it, teacher, your last steps ahead, yeah. So you step into my way, stand down. It's trap, one step, and you're there. Why just a second I go clear blue skies, but no light thinks that you was reason. It's not an accident that no one hears your cries as your mind drifting to dissolve. You never see it coming.
Alright, so the knife cut on its 20-degree edge 280 times through the rope, which was about 50 more than the LMAX did, but then the LMAX had a much thicker 23-degree per side edge. And my testing has invariably, almost over the few hundred of these tests I've done, shown that a thinner edge lasts longer against rope in this test than a thicker edge. So, I don't know, the LMAX is probably about the same Rockwell hardness. It's going to be more stainless, and whether it's going to be more tough, I'm not sure. There's a lot of good background on LMAX being very tough, so I'd still probably prefer this to be made in LMAX if I could choose than the Sleipnir, but it's certainly not a bad steel by any sense for edge retention. Now, another thing that has sort of reared its head during this review process, and as crazy as I thought this was so out of the realms of what I thought was going to be my thoughts, the handle is not particularly comfortable for chopping. This is a lovely handle for holding and for using, and even for doing this test just now, wonderful, not a problem, really, really comfortable in this hammer grip. However, referring back to the Becker BK9 handle or any of the large Becker handles, it's the same handle, just on different blades. It's doing a very similar job, and they're obviously trying for the same kind of, dual retention, can't go back this way, can't go forward this way, kind of dog bone shaped handle. The problem here is that this one is too thin back here. If you look at it next to the Becker handle, there's just so much more width at this back part here. So what's really applying sort of the pressure to your hand, or what's really catching your hand, is a much thinner piece of micarta, making this, in all of the testing I've done, a less comfortable chopping knife than the Becker, which is perhaps more designated for it, although they did say this is to solve the sporting knife branch chopping problem. But yeah, even more uncomfortable than the, not that this is uncomfortable, but more uncomfortable than the TRC as well. The TRC won't retain your hand as well. It's going to be much harder to rip this knife out of your hand with that style handle, rather than the one that sort of just tapers off with a bit of jimping and contouring. However, just in terms of comfort, it's definitely the lesser of the two of these, and also the three of them when you try and weigh in with the Becker series of knives as well. So say if you compare this to a Becker BK7, as long as it's got a micarta handle or a G10 handle, just not the plastic handle they come with, the black handles, not a fan of them because they're a bit slippery, but if you've got a micarta or a G10 handle on a Becker, it's going to be more comfortable than this. Them's the brakes. Didn't want it to be the case, but it is. It's reasonably uncomfortable chopping handle. So sure, it will limb, definitely. It'll cut the fresh green wood really easily. The blade's got good geometries for that, and yeah, it's not even the longest chopping knife in the world, and it does a good job. That being said, using it to reshape trees and things from a practical level, I'm gonna have to go through with a little saw and just neaten these up just to stop them from getting infected, that sort of stuff. But absolutely, it does the job, and it will definitely clear a path for you through greenwood, even if it does hurt the heel of your hand just a little tiny bit. Oh yeah, why not real world edge check after all that wood, not even touched it up, see how it goes. Pretty good. Only rough part's the rough part from doing the edge retention test about there, but everything else very nice. This coating is very, very durable. I have battens with it and some minor scratches. This is all wet now because I've just washed it. And yeah, it's definitely sticking on the blade surface. However, when you cut up food with it, you get a little bit of black on your food sometimes. Like when you cut something that was a bit of a stiff cut like an onion. So I don't know how food safe this stuff is. I assume it's not going to kill me, but I don't know if you'd want to ingest it every day for your whole life. So there's that. But as a coating, protecting the blade from rust, it's doing very, very well. feel silly. So let's have a look at what you get in your box when you buy a LionSteel or indeed a TRC knife. So LionSteel sends you a big brown LionSteel box, which has in it the knife and the sheath. It's a good start. And also 2 bits of paper. So one is the warranty information. I think it's a bit of a, I don't know, I think it's an okay warranty, LionSteels. I'm not sure how good it is. It's definitely not like lifetime forever warranty. And then it comes with also has a little charts of all the different steels they use. It's kind of cool. But then it also has a bit of paper telling you not to bitch about the Kydex sheath putting scratches on the surface of the knife. So they kind of sound like they know which kind of people are buying the big expensive knives. Guys who don't want to get them scratched up. But I haven't really noticed that on mine, which I have actually been using, even if it is for some hardcore YouTubing. But it hasn't happened to me, but they've got a little bit of paper saying, please don't make that a warranty claim, because it's not. So that's what you get in the LionSteel box, which, I don't know. Obviously this is a luxury product. It's a too expensive large knife, you know. So some people may want more with that. But then I think, because I look at my TRC box, I'm like, well, it just sits in my shed anyway. The TRC box, on the other hand, is a bit more gourmet. So it's got a magnetic closure, little, you know, lift up box here, presentation case. There you've got a little manual with all your knife ID stuff in it. So it's got like, because this is a little bit more of a hands-on made product. So this one, I think at the back, yep, has all of mine. This is all my stuff, LMAX 59 to 60 Rockwell, Micarta, when it was made, finish, apocalyptic, all that good stuff. So you get that, you get a little fire steel loop for it, you get stickers, you get a thing of ballistol. So a little bit, you know, a few extra trimmings. And then of course, very cool sayings like blades of honor, tales of men, to make your penis grow that extra inch while you use the knife. Make a good sticker for the back of one of those giant Ford trucks you see guys with barbed wire tattoos driving around, huh? Anyway, so for me it doesn't really matter, but that's definitely what you get. Definitely what you get for you know, your deluxe knife purchase, and I think it is a bit more balanced towards TRC if you are after the fancy stuff. Moving on to the sheaths though. So the LionSteel has probably the best factory sheath I've had come with a fixed blade knife before. Yeah, it's not covered in pockets and bullshit like that, but it is just a really well done full Kydex sheath with all these loops in the back. So you've got a dual belt loop, which you can put on after you've put your belt on. And then it's got this extra 2 here, which you can of course fix like the outside of a backpack or something, top and bottom. So good security options there. This whole back piece is a piece of like stiff nylon, which is then screwed on with like 8 hex head screws to the Kydex sheath. So, and of course, you know, a good fitting, like a nice, easy to put on Kydex, nylon retention strap with a good quality button snap. This is super duper high quality, and I can't really think of too many better ones I've had that weren't sort of aftermarket Kydex maker type sheaths. This is a really, really good sheath, and definitely kind of makes up some of that box, you know, disappointment, you could say. At least you're going to use the sheath every day. It's not to say the TRC has a bad sheath, it's just a much more simple Kydex affair, just a Kydex backplate with a single loop at the top. I have noticed actually, it's always been an issue with this knife, sometimes you can put it in, like it goes in and needs to go in perfectly. It doesn't kind of find home as well. If you put it in just slightly in a rush, once it finds home, it's fine, safe. It does jiggle a little bit too, it does rattle, you know, but overall it's an absolutely fine, you know, 7 out of 10 Kydex sheath number. Gotta say though, this LionSteel goes the full 10 out of 10. It's got a really good launch part for your thumb as well. Your thumb really catches onto these little plastic jimps there, and out the knife comes, and yeah, it's a good system, a really good system. Possibly the best factory sheath I've had. I'm struck. I can't think of all at the moment, but it's definitely up there. Yeah, so frankly speaking, neither of these are amazing at hitting a fire steel, which might be important for you. The crown spines just make it a little less adept at throwing huge showers of sparks for, you know, average folk to get a fire going. It gets sparks, but nothing crazy. However, if you're dropping this kind of cash on money, you probably have servants to do it for you anyway, like so. Sparky! Sparky!
More fire, my lord.
Yes, please, Sparky.
Yes, my lord. And it's Gareth.
Yes, very good, Sparky. Attaboy.
Certainly, my lord.
So the LionSteel and the TRC. To acknowledge the elephant in the room that's probably already stamping its feet in the comments, yeah, this is like a complete luxury good. You can get a Becker BK7 that will do the stuff that these do to a level that's, you know, slightly better or slightly worse in various, you know, parts. But this is again coming down to the question of how much you like to spend on your stuff and if you like luxury kind of products or not. You can buy I have a Honda CR-V for my car because I don't care. It's all right. It takes the kids to school and you put stuff in the back and it's good. I don't get any real joy from using it, or, you know, I mean, it's pleasant enough, but that's it. If I wanted to, I could go and get a Porsche Cayenne with leather seats and with, you know, the really nice sound system in it and all the other stuff, you know, heated seats, all that. But I don't, because I'm not that bothered about that. Some people are bothered about that and not about this, whereas I get more joy out of this. And when you're talking about with cars, it's, you know, $40,000 difference. With knives, it's $200 difference. Without talking philosophy of economics too much, yeah, these are not essential. But with that all out of the way, I think out of the two of these, I still do prefer the TRC Apocalypse. And I think it just comes down to, I like the steel slightly better. I like a stainless steel and I like a tough stainless steel, and Elmax seems to certainly be that. And I like the handle a bit better, which, you know, this is great for you just using in a hammer grip or choking up and doing some carving with. But when it comes to swinging and chopping, which is, you know, what these are all for, even a bit of battoning, that little heel on the handle with this little thinner part here isn't super pleasant. And it's just as simple as that makes it, you know, it's something you notice when you're using it, and there it is. Sheath-wise, it's got the superior sheath. This is like one of the nicest factory sheaths I've seen come with a knife from a box. Really, really good. The Sleipner steel certainly holds its edge well, probably about as well as the Elmax might, maybe, I don't know, comparably anyway. It seems to be tough enough, and it's you know, able to hold an edge and doesn't seem to chip out or roll when I do the silly stuff with it. So yeah, absolutely fine. Overall, I don't regret getting this, and I do enjoy it, and I like having it as an object. But if you were choosing which hyper expensive knife to buy, I'd probably still wait a little bit in line and spend the extra 100 or so on the Apocalypse. Other good alternative knives are the Falcon A1 or A1 Pro. Not as fond of the A1X. I think they've gone almost too thick and chunky with that one. There's also the Cold Steel Recon Scout in the 7-inch blade size as well. Again, I found it a little bit too thick in my use of the Recon Scout and the Trailmaster, and the handle on that one isn't quite enough, and you feel like you might be losing it if you're swinging it too hard. So there's those as reasonable alternatives. Then of course, if you're after something super cheap that does the basic job in a lesser steel and with a handle you might need to upgrade to the Micarta version, any of the Becker series knives are really good, be it a BK7 or a BK9. Anyway, that's my little thoughts on the M7 and a bit of a follow-up on the TRC. Hope you've enjoyed. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.